Hello and welcome to today's edition of Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness. I'm Les Winston, and we are here presenting our way of changing the world. We want to change America's financial condition. We want to do that by utilizing the theory of social charity, the theory that Congress gave us a long time ago that nobody knows about, that we want to let everybody know about, and that's Section 664 and the other social charity devices that were given to us by the Internal Revenue Service. They're given to us by Congress in the Internal Revenue Code. And they are ways for you to increase your own well-being, your own personal peace of mind by creating an endowment for yourself. And then when you pass, you can move that endowment into the community to serve the community as you see fit. I will be appearing at Olive Garden tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 14th of April at noon. We're going to be there for lunch to talk about what we're doing in Aventura and Sunny Isles Beach. The Aventura Chamber of Commerce is having a luncheon, and there's a couple other speakers that are great speakers. Dr. 𝒂𝒊𝒕𝒚 from 𝒂𝒊𝒅𝒂𝒂 Cancer Center, and Peter Mendez, who's the chairman and founder of First SOS Staffing. Dr. 𝒂𝒊𝒕𝒚 is going to talk about the importance of colon cancer screening, and Peter Mendez will be talking about the employment situation around the country and also here locally in South Florida as First SOS Staffing. And I'll be explaining what we're going to be doing with our Chamber Charity Project, how we're going to be improving the lives of people who live in Aventura and Sunny Isles Beach, and improving the schools, improving the services that are available that are not provided by government. And we want to be able to build the endowment to support all of that on a consistent, sustainable basis. It's very important to us that we get you acclimated to how you can use Section 664 and the other social charity devices. So the theory of social charity is 664 equals E², which is endowment squared, your endowment, and then the endowment that you pass on when you pass. And that's a great thing that you can do for the community, but also for yourself. We believe it's the formula for love, loving yourself and loving the community, and that's what we want to do in this era of human kindness. We believe that we've entered into the era of human kindness. It may not feel that way, but that's what is happening once you get through the economic era. And we need to adjust our own financial position in this country to make it more sustainable and to help get past this economic, I would say, economic crisis that we're getting into with regard to our debt. So we have a formula to do that, and that's this theory of social charities. This program is all about presenting that. We also have a way for you to get involved on the radio or on digital radio, and that's through route664.org. Here's a commercial.
We've got best-selling authors.
You are going to start to uncover all the layers that are covering your genius.
And some of the world's top leadership experts.
We have structured a mastermind program that is very unusual, and it is very powerful.
Robin Sharma at noon.
Your creativity will soar, your productivity will be epic, your impact will be legendary, you will be the best in the business, and you will not only achieve remarkable things, but you're going to feel sunsets. You'll feel a connection to people. You'll feel for what's going on in the world, and that will make you a world changer in your own unique way.
Robin Sharma at noon at 4 p.m.
It's a
Blaine Bartlett
exploration of what it takes to be a highly effective leader in today's fast-changing environment.
Best-selling author, executive and leadership coach.
And if you've been liking what you've been listening to on the Soul of Business podcasts, how does one become a leader that can keep connection to the soul of business?
Blaine Bartlett at 4 p.m.
Look forward to seeing you there.
At Route664.org. This is Route 664 Radio.
In a recent show, we were talking about apprenticeships and internships, that we want to help you become more involved in the financial knowledge, that you have more ability to deal with the financial need you'll face going forward. And my guest today is Dr. Vicki Gordon. She is dealing with an apprenticeship program leading an apprenticeship program in Michigan. Is that right, Vicki?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Nice to see you. And we've been trying to influence young people to let them know that there are alternatives to college for those who may not be able to afford it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the apprenticeship program? I know the Department of Labor has kind of directed universities to do this. Is that part of the reason why you're providing apprenticeship at it's University of Michigan?
No, I'm actually at Macomb Community College. We're
Okay,
the
I'm sorry.
largest in the state of Michigan and one of the biggest in the country. We're in Warren,
Okay.
Michigan, just outside of Detroit.
Okay.
So yes, registered apprenticeship, just to lead off with a quick explanation of what that is. A lot of employers throw around the term apprenticeship. Registered apprenticeship is really the program we're talking about today. And that is a program that is sanctioned and registered by the United States Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeship. So registered apprenticeship is required to be a combination of on-the-job training hours, also now referred to as on-the-job learning, as well as a classroom education component. Community colleges are often the providers of that classroom education component for employers. It's not a requirement that they use a college, but many community colleges do provide the educational piece of registered apprenticeship. So that's what we do at my department at Macomb Community College in Michigan.
Great.
We have been doing this for about 70 years. My department was
How many
actually
years?
70
How
years.
many? 70 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been, our department was originally created because we have such a presence. We're kind of the manufacturing hub of the United States here in the Detroit area. And with all of the automotive manufacturers in the area, there was a need for a provider of the related instruction for apprenticeship programs, which
Is that when the Department of Labor did that 70 years ago?
oh gosh, registered apprenticeship has been going on, I think, since the 60s. I'd have to look at that statistic, maybe the 50s. I forget exactly the year that you've been doing it, but it's been a very tried and true, tested, great strategy and formula for workforce development for many, many years.
I've never heard, I guess, I've never paid attention to apprenticeship before, but now that I am paying attention to it, it's very interesting that it's been around as long as it has. It's I guess it's national, right? It's in every state. It's available in every state.
Yes, it is available in every state.
I've never
across the
heard
country.
about it here in Florida at all. So tell me a little bit about the employer. What's the employer relationship with the program?
So it's an employer-driven program. The employer, identifies a need that they need to, fill these what we refer to now as more skills gaps, because there were so many people that left the industry during the recession, retired, relocated, maybe went on to different careers. So a lot of employers now have turned back to registered apprenticeship to develop their workforce. So once the employer determines that need, they work with the Department of Labor to get this program going. So the process with the Department of Labor is the employer, apprenticing that particular trade. So let's use a machinist for an example. That's a 4-year occupation with the Department of Labor. So the requirement is 2,000 hours per year of the apprenticeship of on-the-job training and a minimum of 144 contact hours of education per year, which is roughly 9 credits if they're using a community college. It's much higher than that in most cases, but we'll just use the standard minimum. So the employer then works with the Department of Labor to tailor the on-the-job training piece to exactly what they need for their particular shop. And then they work with me, if they're using Macomb Community College for the education, and I design and set up that curriculum for them to be very specific to the skills and the machines and the types of things they're doing on the job there that they need the apprentice to learn. And so that coincides with the on-the-job training. So the apprentice, it's a job. It's not the same as an internship. It's very different because this is an actual job, or an internship is more of a, try it before you buy it kind of thing, where the student is getting their work experience to build their resume. So with apprenticeship, the person is hired. Typically, there's a little bit of a probationary period before they're actually put into the employer's program. And then they work under the leadership of a mentor on the job, learning the trade based on that schedule of work processes or on-the-job training that the employer work with the Department of Labor to develop. And then at that same time, they're going to class. And typically this is after work hours. So they're working full time and then they're going to class to accent what they're learning on the job with the classroom training. So for a machinist, that would be comprised of things like applied mathematics, the kinds of math that you use, on the job, showing them how that's used on the job, working with, lathes and mills, getting into the CNC technology and learning about those machines, blueprint reading, understanding geometric dimensioning and tolerancing, like the kind of symbols and things that they see on blueprints. Really honing in on exactly what they need to learn to be successful in that trade.
So let me interrupt you a second. What is there an age? Is there an age limitation on going into an apprenticeship program? Is it tied to a college? Does it have to be tied to a college?
It doesn't have to be tied to a college. No.
How would a young person get into the apprenticeship? How would an 18-year-old that's listening now, my audience is going to say, well, how do I get into this? How can I find out more about an apprenticeship program here in South Florida, for example? Is there a way to do that?
Yes. On the Department of Labor's website, they have an apprenticeship finder link. Through that link, you can put in your area, your zip code, your city, and find out which employers in that area are offering registered apprenticeship programs. It might not necessarily mean that they're currently hiring, but it gives you a list of everybody that has those programs. So I certainly encourage people, students that contact me about wanting to get into such a program, to use that tool. Locally in different areas, in Michigan, we have a very strong network of different pre-apprenticeship programs that are ran through different entities like community colleges that help students prepare and get the skills that they need to be marketable to an employer for an apprenticeship position. So in a lot of it too, with smaller companies, a lot of this happens in our area by word of mouth. People that are working there, talking to people who are interested and getting referrals that way. I mean, we know that networking is a big part of getting jobs, and that's no different with the apprenticeship model.
I had never heard. I had never heard of this. So it's a registered apprentice program, meaning registered because it's registered with the Department of Labor by the employer to make it a qualified apprenticeship.
Yes.
So when you get through with the apprenticeship, what happens then?
When you complete the apprenticeship, you receive the Department of Labor certificate of completion that signifies you're a master craftsman in that occupation. And at that point, the apprentice is no longer an apprentice. They're considered a journeyman. So they're considered a master in their craft. And then they could, they elevate in position in the organization that they're working for. They can certainly go into different areas of leadership positions, depending on the organization and what they're doing. But at that point, they're considered a journeyman. The certificate of completion from the Department of Labor is often referred to as a journeyman's card. So that's a very portable credential that is recognized across the country. So
that's great.
Somebody from the Metropolitan.
I'm amazed. I've never heard of it. Oh. I'm not a youngster. But
well, I'm glad I can be here to explain.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Dr. Gordon. So there is a difference. I think that a lot of young people believe that college is the only resource for making their way in the world. And I've looked at one of the pieces that you put out, which is the apprenticeship versus college. And it's very interesting because when you look at that, could you bring that up on the screen if you can? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. We have it here. Apprenticeship versus college. So what it shows that in comparison, college and apprenticeship, with college you have to pay for classroom learning, and in apprenticeship you get paid for on-the-job training. College costs $22,500 per year, I guess, on average, and with an apprenticeship, you're earning $18 to $24 per hour to start. And then it goes through the 4 years of college compared to 4 years of apprenticeship. And at the end, the total over 4 years is you end up $90,000 in debt with college. I'm not laughing because that's funny. And then if you do the apprenticeship over 4 years, you have between $174,000 and $224,000 in earnings. That's pretty substantial.
Yes.
That's a substantial difference.
It's a significant difference.
Yeah. And and I assume that because there's going to be a lot of changes in the way people are working going forward, that we don't know what the jobs are going to be later on. And so I think that the apprenticeship program would help, I guess, introduce new occupations.
It can, yes. And I want to be clear too that, I'm not in any way poo-pooing or devaluing a college education. Obviously, I have
I'm
a
not either.
doctorate. I have a doctorate degree.
Graduate. Yeah, I got my degree. Yeah,
Okay.
I have a degree in I have a Bachelor of Science in biology and a minor in chemistry, and I'm in the financial industry. So they fit, but they gave me a background in education that was very worthwhile, and I'm not poo-pooing college either. But I think we need to stress apprenticeships are very important.
They are very important. So that graphic that you had up, I believe that's a Department of Labor graphic. And so that's, kind of what we talk about when, trade programs had kind of disappeared from the high schools. They're coming back now with the advent of, this attention to the skills gap and developing the manufacturing workforce. But with that absence of those programs in the high schools, many students were, that maybe weren't quite suited for a traditional college education were being routed into, a four-year degree pathway. And many of them then would graduate with, a valuable degree in, let's say, psychology or history, but really not able to find a job that paid enough to overwhelm the college debt that they had, correct? So, and so some of those students, college education is for them. They go on and they have very successful careers. Other students that may have been well suited for more of a hands-on career that apprenticeship can offer, maybe weren't introduced to those career pathways or had a clear understanding of what other options may be. So that's, kind of what they're getting at there with that graphic. With the apprenticeship model, they get the job, they start earning and learning right away. Often, as I said, employers use a community college or, an institution of higher education for that educational requirement, which enables the student to also get college credit that can then be used to get an associate's degree and go on for a bachelor's if they chose to do that at some point.
So they get their associates, they can get their associate's degree and also get their apprenticeship,
yes,
get to a journeyman stage.
yes.
And then if they want to go on further in college, they can. They want to more.
Yes. It just depends on the employer and the apprenticeship program. Some employers don't use community colleges or an institution of higher education for the instructional piece. So, that's not for college credit. There are, different articulation agreements that different institutions work with, trade schools to be able to, transition those those journeymen to get, college credit for their education and move on to a degree pathway if they, wanted to go into a different type of position, such as a leadership, supervision, managerial role, even engineering, an engineering technician. So they could certainly, stack degree credentials on top of their apprenticeship, which is the beauty of it, right? You can work as a machinist for the rest of your life if you want to, or you can build on that and go on to do other things where, higher education may be that requirement. It's an alternative of looking at education. And my TED Talk, where I compared it to a bachelor's degree, it is most registered apprenticeship, most traditional occupations are 4 years. So my comparison was, a 4-year bachelor's degree versus this 4-year pathway. So it's a different way of looking at it, and certainly great careers for a lot of people, young people that are starting to learn about these things now. But there was a bit of a gap there where young people just weren't learning about these careers. When I did my dissertation, I studied the attitudes of the manufacturing industry among high school students in the county where my college is. And when I found out, I gathered my data in 2014. Many of the high school students they weren't aware of these careers. They didn't really know what was involved. If they did know, if they had an awareness, they often thought of it as like, kind of a dirty, grimy kind of job where they're,
Leave your college dorm, leave the college dorm and go to work in the machinist shop. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's not the case at all. And so, it's really turned a corner over the last 10 years. The Department of Labor, the government really started flushing a lot of grant funds and money into the system to help employers get incentives, get money to pay for starting up these programs and pay for the education, to really resaturate, the country with the apprenticeship model, and get that message out there that, college education is great. It's needed. It's never going to go away. However, there is this other pathway available to young people, of any age really, that may, desire a career like this that's more requires that hands-on education on the job piece.
Well, as a Chamber of Commerce, president of the Chamber of Commerce here locally, I'm going to look into that, get more information and pass it on to people in our community who are not aware of it, especially the youngsters who are coming up and trying to figure out what to do. Maybe we can decrease some of the anxiety amongst young people if we can let them know that there is an alternative to the expense of college in a way. Yeah. Thank you very much, Vicki, for your time this morning.
Yes.
I really appreciate learning about the apprenticeship program, and we will definitely look forward to having you back. I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about this on a future program. So I hope our time together is valuable to those who have been able to get the idea of what we're trying to portray here with regard to the choices that people have to make, and that there are ways to do things. Thanks again for being with us on Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness.
You're very welcome, and I'd be very pleased to come back and talk about this some more. Something I'm very passionate about.
That's great. So our co-host Wanda is on the premises and needs a mic to come sit beside me. Yes.
I'll take your mic.
Okay, you can take mine.
I just want to.
There you go.
I always tell people when I in my radio career,
yes,
the illustrious radio career that was, I had lots of experiences when I went back to school, I would always get jobs. I found that I found better jobs if I went in as an intern. So some of my best jobs that I've ever encountered, I started in that intern apprenticeship volunteer basis. Sometimes when I began WLRN, actually, I started working in the radio reading services, which I really loved. I loved where we would read for the blind and just read the newspaper, basically, or we take out our clips. So it was like, it was just audible news. And
voicing.
And just reading it, which was really nice. I like reading. That's something I'll return to. I like reading for the blind. It's a great service. So anyway, I just wanted to say yay
Wanda,
to apprenticeships.
Just so you know, Wanda is going to be at Olive Garden tomorrow as well.
Oh,
For
yes.
lunch, and so you can meet both of us there, and we can and you can get to meet the personalities that we become here on Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness.
Yes, sir, Bob. You plant the seed, I tend the garden. Because I was really lucky. I just came across Dr. Vicki Gordon last night, and I knew that we wanted to talk about this, and that you had been talking about apprenticeships for a while, and we were like, whatever happened to the apprenticeship? Apparently, it's alive and well. So we just need to fertilize that too.
Yeah, we need to get that out to the youngsters and make sure that they're aware that they can find another way, and that there is something else to do. Yeah,
I love it when these youngsters.
Well,
the youngsters.
Well, yeah, young people, the youths.
I like the youths.
Yeah, youths. So tell me a little bit more about the Adventures of Charity. I know that we've been talking about, expanding a little bit more on.
I've got Charity in the studio as we speak right now, working on some new stuff. So
great.
We should have her up and running maybe next week, maybe for next week's program. Stay tuned, folks.
Okay. That'll be good. And Charity, of course, is the superhero of what we're all about here, with trying to get you to know what the theory of social charity is and how that works for the benefit of you and for the benefit of the community. And we need a powerful person like Charity to do that. So I don't know how you control all that energy.
You can't control the energy. You just got to let the energy be what it be.
Okay. And so tomorrow we're going to be talking about the work that we're doing in Aventura and Sunny Isles Beach with regard to safe schools, great schools, and improving the level of support that we have from other from the public and how we can.
What's
This
happening?
this is a little snake that's coming in here, so I
Live.
can connect this mic. This is
Wow.
all live. This is live production going on right here.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that
All
work?
right.
Am I hooked up?
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Excellent.
The telephone commercial. All right. So anyway, we're going to create two community foundations, two new community foundations in Aventura and Sunny Isles Beach. And we want to use those to improve the lives of everybody in the area. And so
And beyond.
And beyond, yes. And so Wanda is a very important part of the process. Wanda is board member with the Endow American Network Foundation and a
Thanks.
contributing member who helps put together a lot of what we're doing. And I think it's been very effective, and it will become more effective over time. So we'll
It's all about people helping people, folks. It's simple, and that drives me every day.
tell us about your vision of the era of human kindness.
Oh, wow. Well, we don't need so much government. We all just help each other. And because, those politicians are doing a great job making the world a better place. They're doing their best, I suppose. But I like it better when we help each other just simply out of love. As woo-woo as it sounds, I believe in the higher power, the source that created us drives us. So I think that we'll make it. I think we'll make it.
I hope so. And it's interesting because Vicki brought out the fact that the Department of Labor created this apprenticeship program 70 years ago or 60 years ago, whatever, similar to what we did with the endowment, with the sections of the tax code that we call the Social Security sections, the Section 664 and the pooled income funds and child gift annuities. That was all created in 1969. And so there's been this gap between the creation and the expression to the people. So we're helping to that the government did for us at the time when it was necessary, and we need to make sure that we utilize those things, good things that they've done, and that will help everybody. So the Department of Labor
empowering each other, empowering yourself to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and get through your own life. And if you can do that, you can live the life you want to live instead of living the life that somebody else is trying to make you live.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to help you.
Nobody wants to control. I don't think anybody wants to be controlled. People need freedom and liberty.
Yeah.
And the ability to do whatever it is that you can do in the best way that you can. Teddy Roosevelt said something that was very interesting. He said, do what you can with what you have where you are.
Exclamation point.
Exclamation point. Yeah. So you can take your own resources, the things that make you, and turn them into things that will make you better, going further and more, with more peace of mind. I think that's what we all would like to have, is peace of mind and peace.
Yeah. And freedom.
And freedom.
There we go.
So, Wanda, I think I would like to introduce the folks again to the radio station. So if you could just play that commercial again.
You want to sing us out?
Yeah.
We've got best-selling authors,
You are going to start to uncover all the layers that are covering your genius.
and some of the world's top leadership experts.
We have structured a mastermind program that is very unusual and it is very powerful.
Robin Sharma at noon.
Your creativity will soar, your productivity will be epic, your impact will be legendary. You will be the best in the business, and you will not only achieve remarkable things, but you're going to feel sunsets. You'll feel a connection to people. You'll feel for what's going on in the world, and that will make you a world changer in your own unique way.
Robin Sharma at noon at 4 p.m. Blaine Bartlett.
Exploration of what it takes to be a highly effective leader in today's fast-changing environment.
Best-selling author, executive, and leadership coach.
And if you've been liking what you've been listening to on the Soul of Business podcast, how does one become a leader that can keep connection to the soul of business?
Blaine Bartlett at 4 p.m.
Look forward to seeing you there.
At 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒊𝒕𝒚. This is Route 664 Radio.